This is a conversation about money journey, not financial advice.
Yeah.
Money is a part of love, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I do not believe, in my opinion, in my life, in what I want, the life I want to live. I don't think I can be happy and broke. I have no desire for the limelight, to be honest. I like it, but now that I've experienced it, it ain't it.
Yeah.
It ain't it. I'm telling you. I am telling you.
Yeah.
Me, it has to match with the bank account.
Yeah.
I'd rather have money than fame.
Yeah. I guess for this theme, I want us to discuss a little bit about over 25. Looking back now, you know the way when you leave a relationship or terminate a relationship, or then you're looking back and you're like, yeah, there was a red flag there, and I ignored it, and that was one of the reasons why we ended up, where we ended up now.
It's about to get spicy up in here.
Welcome back to Financially Incorrect. I am your host, Barrack. At least these days I remember to say my name. And this podcast is proudly sponsored by FX Pesa. As usual, if you'd like to learn about online trading, physically, you can go to any of their locations in Thika, Eldoret, Kampala, or Nakuru, and coming soon in Dar. And then if you'd like to check out any of their online classes, links are in the description box. If you'd like to open a demo account or a full trading account, again, the links are in the description box. And again, huge thanks to FX Pesa for being able to allow us this opportunity to keep bringing you guys great and awesome financial conversations. Today, we've been trying to get this episode done. I think the first time Shiko reached out was last year, maybe like a year ago. Yeah. So it's taken some convincing and taken some time to make this happen. But today in studio, on set, we have with us Jules, who is a content creator and a producer and podcast, I'd say podcaster extraordinaire. So welcome to Financially Incorrect.
Thank you, Barrack. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Looking forward to talking about your money journey.
Bruh, I'm just like, is this my space really and truly? That's probably why the apprehension was there.
Yeah, because the first time we reached out, you're like, no, I'm not finance, like I'm not a finance person.
Yeah. And even last week when we had the chat, I'm like, what do you want to know? Like, I'm not, what am I going to give I hope your audience is going to take something away. I hope I have something that is beneficial. I'm not just giving hot airs or stuff that you can just Google, So, I just want to be as authentic as I can.
Yeah.
And the fact that you told me it's financially incorrect, not financially correct, that was the big moment for me where I was like, all right, I probably
and just a caveat again, like I did a few months ago when we got some heat. This is not like about financial advice. It's people learning from money journey. So before we get attacked again for having content creators on our platform.
Yeah. Oh, is that what happened?
Well, yeah. We had, I think the time we had like a run of content creators who were on here. And then on Twitter, guys were like, these podcasts inviting content creators as financial experts. We're like, no, we're not inviting financial experts. We're trying to get people to talk about their money journeys and then
exactly. I think that's very important. This is a conversation about money journey, not money advice, not financial advice. Yeah. And when you told me about the money journey bit, I was like, okay, fine, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think you literally have to start every episode like that. But also just no KOT or KOX.
Yeah. It's a life of its own.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start with this. I saw a start this week. It was a graphic going out on X. And, around the number of the banks in Kenya that have accounts that have over 500,000 in their accounts. And NCBA, I know NCBA had the most accounts with over 500,000 in them. And then there was like a list. They had a lot of them, like NCBA were like far. Then the others were like trickling down. So I'm curious, were you on that graph? Or any of your accounts?
Bro, you told me we're going to talk about numbers. And it's like at the end, people understand my poor financial decisions.
Yeah. Do you have any current account or savings account in the bank that has over 500,000 shillings?
So funny enough, I do have an NCBA account.
Oh, so like you're in the NCBA?
But the NCBA account I have does not have that amount of money, but I do have that amount of money somewhere.
Yeah. Do you have that you have that amount of money in any bank account? Not MMF, not investment, but like just sitting in
the
a bank
bank
account.
Yeah.
Or you do?
Yeah. Not like my current, not the one for
Not the current
buying
account,
lunch,
but like savings.
Yeah, so I have a savings. I need to get into MMF. I've been meaning to do that, but I do.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, why would you have that in a savings account?
Because I didn't know that. I didn't know that even banks don't save money in the banks. I didn't know you're not supposed to save your money in a bank.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't know. And I read in a book somewhere, listen, don't save your money in a bank. Even banks don't save their money in the bank.
Yeah.
And somebody had advised me. By the way, I've had like 2 financial advisors. At the point where they tell you like track your expenses and then I write everything down, I always stall around that point. So it's really my bad. Yeah, it's honestly, it's just that's
So like
that's
you
how
just haven't executed.
I have money in different places, but one of the places is the bank. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
Yes, like I have a few standing orders in 2 different accounts. So when money hits those accounts, I have different monies for different functions.
Right.
So like there's a production work goes to one account. My influencer work goes to another account, and then I have standing orders in those accounts each month that just go into savings accounts that I can't access unless like I have to go to the bank, sign,
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, I don't have any account, any bank account that has 500,000 shillings.
Assets, maybe?
In assets, yes, but like a bank account, my savings accounts, I have an emergency fund, which is I think like 100 and something, just in case I need to access this immediately. But everything else is like there's nothing. The current account definitely doesn't have that.
Yeah.
Everything else is in MMFs and all of that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I need to get into the MMFs.
So you haven't, even with all of this hype over the last 2, 3, 4 years of MMFs, like you just haven't opened
I
one.
just haven't, because I don't know what they are. I don't understand. Ivy of over 25.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Ivy.
Yeah.
Just Ivy Africa. She got over 25 to open an MMF. She's like, we're not putting our money in the bank.
Yeah.
So she's like, get this guy. So it was really under her direction.
Yeah.
And I guess if you could say over 25 has an MMF somewhere, and we're still kind of contributing to that.
Okay.
But me personally, I just did what my dad told me. He's like, make sure every time you get a standing order. And then over time, I realized that I need... so I have savings, emergency, travel, and like a double emergency. Travel is because I like to travel, and a lot of times I don't have that kind of disposable income to be like, let's go to SA, in 3 weeks or in a month. It's not money I just have sitting around.
Yeah.
So those monies that go in the separate places, it's just to cater for those lifestyles of my life. Excuse me, my lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then there's the savings. And then there's some bits and pieces I have bought that are not liquidated. Okay. But I don't think I'm doing a good job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get into all of that properly. But my second question, another light question, I'd say, what's your take right now on the general economic and I don't want to call it political climate, but just what's happening in Kenya right now? With the protests that have been there, of course, it started with the Reject Finance Bill. And now there's this push about accountability and the leaders and what they're doing. So, yeah, what do you think?
Well, I mean, that's a very loaded question. I don't really like to give my opinion on those things. Okay. But this is what I'll say. The biggest thing that I think has always been lacking for the general public, and not just in Africa, even in the West, is knowledge and awareness. And for us on the continent, I think it is absolutely vital that we learn and understand the role of these powers that are actually behind a lot of the issues that we have on the continent right now when it comes to international debt. Yeah. We need to understand how the IMF works, how USAID works, and how the World Bank works, and how they are crippling African nations to be indebted to the West for their benefit, and how they actually get people, there are people specifically trained, let's say in the US, to come to Africa and negotiate with African leaders and say, listen, we're going to give you this power plant, we're going to build you these roads, we're going to give you all this development, on loan so that and the only thing we want is that we want to be the ones to help with that development.
Yeah.
And here's the loan. And they know that it's a loan that can never, ever, ever be paid back, you know, and then now we're indebted and then the idea behind it is not just to take the loan, it's so that they can, you know, have access to our soldiers, take them to Haiti anytime they want.
Right.
Because it's like, you owe us, you've not paid, you owe us, you have $1 trillion USD in debt,
right.
or we need your vote in the UN. You know what I mean? These are things that I did not know about until this movement, and I decided to inform myself. In fact, I would recommend everybody, no matter how old you are, to read this book, The Confessions of an Economic Hitman. It's a book I finished, but I'm now reading. There's the Confessions of an Economic Hitman, and then the New Confessions. There's a second one, so I'm on the second one now, and that's what has made me realize what is going on.
Yeah.
And really, sometimes it's like, what are we really fighting for? Are we really fighting for the leaders to step down, or should we really be fighting the other powers? Because even those leaders, if they don't conform, things happen. Assassinations happen.
Yeah.
And that has been the trend, not only in Africa, even in South America.
Yeah.
Che Guevara.
Okay.
So you know what I mean? So I think the gap here is knowledge. And it baffles me how it's like our knowledge on things is capped. They don't want us to know so much.
Yeah.
It's just, okay, no, learn how to do 1, 2, 3, maybe go get an MBA, but then why are these life skills on money and the world not being taught in the classrooms? There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
So that's my take.
Okay, so Confessions of an Economic Hitman.
Confessions of an Economic Hitman. If you don't like reading, get it on Audible.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to read this book. Everyone from 7 years old to 80 years old in Kenya right now, please. You heard?
Okay, I haven't read it. Definitely go and look for it, right? So, where does your money journey begin? Were you born in wealth? Were you born in middle class privilege? Where does your money journey begin?
I was born in the Kenyan context, I would say I was born in privilege. We lived a relatively comfortable life.
Yeah.
There's no time like we ever lacked, because my dad just made sure that let me just say we were blessed, right? Obviously, that's what I say now. Growing up, I was always like, how comes these people have DSTV?
Yeah.
I want a new bike, no, you know, but like we never lacked.
Did
so
you
I
guys
was
have
comfortable.
DSTV?
No, we did not.
Okay. You know,
the
there was
kids,
the DSTV
the kids who had
were another-
DSTV were the rich kids.
Yeah,
And it was like
yeah.
that one guy in the estate with a big satellite dish in the veranda, and all the kids, we used to go to this one guy's house to watch cartoons, Cartoon Network, you know, before it became accessible.
Yeah.
Remember they started bringing like these cool shows from DSTV on
Yeah, I
KTN
think
at like 4 p.m.
Yeah, I think for a certain generation, having DSTV or not having DSTV was like a clear demarcation of where, you know, you guys were at in the...
It was a marker. It was a marker of wealth.
Yeah.
You know, so we didn't have DSTV. We never did.
Yeah.
I think until we went to Union, by that time everybody had dish.
Yeah.
But I feel like I grew up relatively comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking back, I feel like my life was
So like
good.
pocket money.
No,
when
we didn't have
introduced-
pocket money. Pocket money was foreign to me. I think I got pocket money when I got pocket money in university.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Like through teenagehood. Nothing.
No, if you want money, you go and ask. What are you going to do? with
So you'd
this?
ask for for specific.
Yeah, I'm going
things.
for a movie. Can
Yeah.
I have? And I do wish we had pocket money so that I learned how to manage money at that point. I wish I had like chores that had, you know, the value of this is this. If you want to if you want us to buy for you a bicycle, then you work for it. I wish we had that.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't grow up with that. There was no pocket money.
Why do you think your folks didn't take that route for you guys?
I think it's a knowledge thing, to be honest. I don't think my dad and mom knew that this is how to empower kids economically or financially, because the things we were taking you to school, you learn. Yeah. I think they didn't know.
And did they ever then say no to you? I mean, when you wanted stuff, or was it, I want a bike, here's a bike. I want a, I don't know, whatever, PlayStation, here's a PlayStation.
Yeah. No, of course they said no.
Yeah.
All the time. My first bicycle, I cried for it for so long. And I remember my dad ironing his shirt that Saturday morning, and because my best friend across the street, for those guys who know Shiv Simani, he's a trainer, and we grew up together. So they lived across the street from us. And I remember from my bedroom window, I could see their veranda, and I just saw their dad open the gate, and then Shiv and his sister just came out in their bikes. The sister had a bike with like a basket. She had a BMX Top Gun, a black one.
Yeah.
And I lost it.
Yeah.
I cried for a new bike. And I remember my dad the Saturday he got me the bike.
Yeah.
He's like, do you know bicycles are 2,000 shillings? Where am I going to get that money? And in my mind, I'm like, but 2,000 is 2. It's only 2.
Yeah.
Like, just let's go get those.
1, 2.
One and 2. I was what? 10?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's how I got my first bicycle, crying. My dad is a little bit of a, I would say he's like what do you call somebody who doesn't spend their money or keep?
A miser?
He's a little bit of a miser. Like, he might have the money, but you can't know that he has money.
Yeah.
So even spending a little bit, it's like, yeah.
I mean, for you and you seeing, I mean, if you could take yourself back to the 10-year-old version of yourself when you're seeing him and his sister, Shiv and his sister coming out in the bike. I mean, do you want a bike because you want it, or do you want a bike because she has it?
I want a bike because I want to belong. And because at the time, it's like, there's these 3-4 kids who have nice bicycles, and we used to share. So you ask your friend, can I ride your bike till there?
Yeah.
So I never really felt like but McKenna, who's Shiv's sister, was my best friend. So if she has a bicycle and I don't, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think, if I'm to sort of just take that theme and fast forward a little before we chronologically go at it, do you think that as a theme that's repeated itself in your life, where you've used money to belong?
Absolutely. I think money is the one thing that makes people, it's the number one thing that makes people, the motivation behind a lot of things is to belong, right? And money is usually the channel that you use that to achieve that.
Yeah.
You want to be accepted in a certain class of people, you dress a certain way, you drive a certain car, you have a certain phone, you live in a certain part of town. So that is literally the motivation behind everybody's spending habits.
Yeah.
It's belonging to something.
Okay, interesting. All right. So I guess you start dealing with money at uni level, right? When you're going to uni, that's when you start getting pocket money. How did you go to uni? You were in USIU, right? Were you one of the kids who were driving? Why are you laughing?
I'm like, I wish.
Were you javing?
Yeah.
Were you taking taxis?
Taxis?
Yeah.
Did we have taxis those days?
I mean, not Ubers, but taxis.
Yeah, taxis.
Yeah.
No. I used to jav.
Yeah.
I used to jav. So I grew up in Langata, and I used to take a 15 till Afia Center town. Then you walk all the way down to Jivanji, get onto the school bus, and then go to school.
Okay.
But then eventually I did move off campus because my parents had to relocate to another country because of my dad's work. My dad's work never really had that kind of relocation thing, but this was an era in his life where he had to relocate.
Right.
And so when they left, I was like, I'm not coming with you guys to this country. So I got a flat off campus. I used to drive to school, basically. Okay. And that's when I got pocket money. So I'd be given money for the week.
Yeah. Would it last the week?
It would. So what happened those days, and I think it still affects me now, I was always scared of spending money. I was always scared of getting to zero. So I would kind of mize my money quite a bit. I didn't...
So you do the same thing your dad was doing?
Yes, I would do the same thing my dad was doing. Money for me was like, oh my God, if it finishes, it finishes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I never used to really save for anything because my priorities those days were just credit, lunch, and the party on the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So your pocket money would cover all of that.
Yeah, I can't remember how much it was those days. In fact, I think maybe it was even a daily thing. You're just given 2 sock for lunch.
And when you'd party, would you buy your own drinks?
With changa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
So boys would buy a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Girls have it easy. I'm gonna tell you that.
Yeah.
Girls have. In fact, I started buying my own drinks here in my 30s. Because now I go out. I'm not going out to be impressed. I'm not going out to to be impressed or to impress.
Yeah.
I'm literally just going out for myself.
Yeah.
My entire 20s was going out for, who we're going to meet, who's there.
Yeah.
You go with your boyfriend or, whatever. But now is when I started buying my own drinks.
Yeah.
Back in the day, rarely, because boys are always trying to have one up on the other.
Were you ever impressed by guys buying you drinks?
No. And which is why I kept on telling you, I don't know, Barrack, if I'm a fit for this, your podcast.
Yeah.
Because I was not driven by money until, again, recently. I'm a romantic. So I remember when we had the boys in school who had the nice car, who would come to school with cars, or they looked nice. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, it never used to faze me. Not at I see the money, I say, no, I'm looking for love. I'm just telling you, psychologically, it just never used to be like, oh, he has money, he'll buy us drinks, so that's the guy I'm going to hook up with. Never. I remember a friend of mine, years later, this was just after I finished my master's, so I came back and my dating life was just, can we cuss here?
Yeah,
it was a shit show.
Yeah.
It was a bleep show.
Yeah.
And I remember my friend kept on telling me, she's like, my friend was telling me, Jules, you have a standard of dating, like, you always say you want somebody who communicates well, who is compassionate and kind. The way you have that list there, money needs to be on that list. And it didn't. I was like, really? Like, isn't that like morally wrong? You understand? I thought it was like not the right way to go into relationships or go into life. Bruh, I wish I knew that. So
you think it makes a difference?
Absolutely, it makes a difference.
Okay, actually, before we go down the makes a difference rabbit hole, I want to ask, right? So you're saying that money doesn't impress you, right? And no,
those days,
those days, like
it never
those
used
drinks,
to impress me.
like buying those drinks or whatever the case didn't impress you.
Nah.
That's 20s, 30s. Now, there's a story I saw. I think it must have been this year. It must be this year, where, and I think it was in the States, and there was a lady that was being featured in the story, and she had gone, I think, 6 months or something without buying a meal, purely because she kept going out on dates, and men kept buying her food, and she had no intention to pursue any of these men really, but I guess intention was to eat it.
That was her strategy.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
And so she would eat, and I believe that story is there. I'll get the link and I'll put it in the description. But I want to ask this from this clubbing, going out, partying perspective of you're not impressed by a man buying you drinks in your 20s. Did it ever occur to you to just tell whoever it is who's coming to be like, hey, can I buy you a drink? Just be like, actually, you buying me a drink isn't going to change my perception of you. Like, whether you buy me a drink or not, going to change my perception of you. If you want to have a conversation, like, let's have a conversation.
I didn't have that language those days. And again, like I told you, I didn't know that it's important to, or you should look out for somebody who looks like they can provide.
Yeah.
So, no, to answer your question, when somebody will come up to me, I wouldn't be like, this doesn't impress me, da-da-da. Let me tell you a story. There's this guy I dated. I used to also attract, those days, I used to attract rich men, thank God. So maybe that's why, anyway. So there's this one guy I dated, and he was doing well, much older. And I remember when we went on a date, and he dropped me home in a car, in a nice car.
What's the nice car? Tell us.
It was an Audi S5. Is that something like that?
I don't know.
Audi S5 turbo and V8. It had like, red leather seats and da-da-da. I could tell, like I can see, when I see money, I can see it.
Yeah.
But it's like, but you love me. Like that was my main thing. Man, I was so dumb. So I remember when he took me home and he dropped me at my mom's house at the gate, and he gave me, I think it was like 10K, like this. And he's like, this is contingency money. And I was like, no, me, I'm good. Like, it's okay. Like, thanks for tonight. Like that. He's like, no, take it. It's contingency money in case anything happens. I said no. And I gave it back to him because I wanted to show him that
it's not about the money.
It's not about the money. What the hell was I thinking? And then I ran to my bedroom and I went to the dictionary. I'm like, what is contingency? I didn't even know what that meant. And now looking back, I'm like,
would you take it?
Right now?
Yeah.
Yes. And I would be like, *2, please.
Why though?
Why? Because...
Was he your boyfriend?
He was trying to be.
So why would you take it? And
because you've given it to me.
And before
because you've given it to me.
Purely because it's given it to you.
Yeah.
You don't think there's any moral...
Now that thing has died. Like, I really see the value of having a man who can provide, having a partner who can provide. It is very important. There's no amount of cuddles and acts of service.
Yeah.
You know, picking up the shopping from the car to the house. That can, like, I've had good love, but then now I'm just like, and then, so now I want to build a house.
But I feel like this other side is the extreme as well.
Which side?
Like this, so for example, the scenario you've just described, where you're taking, contingency money. Mm-hmm. He's not your boyfriend. Mm-hmm. He's trying to be your boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And you're taking, not that the money has obligations to it or whatever.
We hadn't even hooked up. Can you imagine?
It's got to be, clean. I mean, I feel, anyway.
What are we feeling right now?
No, I just think it's not morally wrong, but maybe morally opaque, I think.
For the guy to do that?
Yeah. Not for the guy to do that. For it to be, for you to take that money.
Nah, I don't think so.
No?
And in those days, M-Pesa was not like... This was a long time ago. I was 23. Yeah. I'm 36 now. So this was literally 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And now it would be in the form of M-Pesa. Like, I just go home and I find it. How do you think I'll return it? No, absolutely not. Right now, I'll say thank you so much, because the position that money has now taken in my psyche, in terms of how I look at it, it's not this bad thing that is like...
So what would it communicate to you? What would it mean to you?
Let me first explain.
Yeah.
It plays... money is a part of love, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Money, you cannot be... I do not believe, in my opinion, in my life, in what I want, the life I want to live, I don't think I can be happy and broke. And broke is an extreme. Let's even just say happy and struggling.
Yeah.
We've covered our bases, but we're struggling to make the car payment. We're struggling to pay for our medical insurance at the end of the year. Those two, they are mutually they cannot exist in the same space long term. There's going to be waves. There's going to be seasons, but I cannot sit there and say, I'm okay. And this is me speaking in my where I'm at now.
Yeah.
So for me, money is absolutely a part of happiness.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you don't see how money can be a part of happiness, you just haven't experienced happiness with money. You don't know where to experience happiness with money. So I do believe money can buy you happiness. It can't buy you all of it.
I mean, Pinky said if for people who say money cannot buy you happiness, don't know where to shop. That's what Pinky said.
See, and those days, my goal in life or in a relationship was to feel loved, to feel seen, to feel appreciated and seen. You know what I mean? That was my priority. My priority was not provide for me. Because I was in school, I was working. So I was like, no, let's build. We're not building now at this stage.
So right now, I don't know what your relationship status is, but if you go, hypothetically speaking, if you go on a date with someone and the person's dropping you home and they give you 10,000 or 20, like you said, double 20,000 shillings at the end of the night, what does that communicate to you?
So obviously it depends on it's not like we've hooked up and then you're giving me money. You're paying for my services.
No, literally the same
that happens.
setting that you're saying. Yeah,
what did it communicate?
Yeah,
that you can, you can take care of me. You can take care of this house when I'm pregnant and I'm man down. You can take care of things. I don't have to run back to work after 3 months. I can take a year off.
Yeah,
I can have a comfortable life.
Yeah,
I can have excesses. So it communicates to me security.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to be out here grinding and I'm 9 months pregnant. I want to put my feet up.
Yeah.
and help you in other ways that I can. And that's how I look at it. I want to be able to feel like the financial burden is not like I do not want to be the one pulling the weight, the financial weight solely as a woman in a relationship. I'll struggle with that. I've done it before, more than once. Because again, my priorities in life have never been money. It's just about love and connection and being happy. But I've seen happiness is a part of love, because as soon as you leave that house, whether you're on foot or you're in a car, you're spending money. And it will now infiltrate your relationship. Your fight is no longer about why didn't you kiss me good morning before you ate. It's like, you can't even buy me a lollipop at the till because it's not in your budget.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me throw a curveball at you, right? And this I'm actually thinking about. Think Like a Man, the first one. Well, I guess they're all the same cast. But there's a lady who's like a very rich corporate
Taraji.
CEO. Yeah. Then that role, right? So my question to you is, do you think your stance would be as hardline as it seems to me now if you had way more money?
Yeah, because the higher you go, the lonelier it becomes as a woman. Because as a man, you just have options.
Yeah.
It's very easy for a woman to date, for a man to date down. In fact, it's the societal world, societal norm that a man dates down. But for a woman to date down is tough. So the question is, what would my stance be?
Would it be as hardline where, like, let's say you as Jules, you on your own, you're able to make enough money?
No, so it wouldn't be as hard.
Yeah.
You know what my baseline is?
Yeah.
This is my baseline. Having a partner that is in a career that they're not developing. They're not at the stage where they're still figuring themselves out.
Yeah.
They're well into their path. And the money that they're making it should not be so far from mine, even if I'm ahead. What I mean is, because in the day-to-day where we're going to have dinner, I don't want it to feel like a strain every time when I'm like, oh, let's just go to here because, maybe he wants to buy and he can't.
Yeah.
So what I mean is, you might have a gap, but it should not be so wide that you're in different economic classes.
Right.
Because it will cause a strain. You might love each other, but love will only be in the bedroom. As soon as you walk out of that house and you meet people and they're like, let's go for a drink. Where? There. The guy cannot afford a drink there. So now I'm there sleeping money under the table. I'm not going to do that stuff again.
Have you terminated relationships?
Bruh. I thought we were talking about money here.
No, it is about money. Have you terminated relationships based on this stance of, like, I've pulled this financial burden for long enough, and the reason I'm asking it is the primary reason for the relationship ending is like, you tick all of these other great boxes, but my friend, there's no chums, and so, it's a no for me.
I have two.
Yeah.
Two relationships.
How do you have that conversation? Do you say, it's not me, it's not you, it's me? Or do you just tell them, or did you tell them?
The first one, I told him, I loved that boy so much, by the way. Actually, 3. Yeah, I had a bit of a track record of dating broke people because, again, I told him that the words I remember using were, I don't think you are ready for the kind of relationship I'm looking for right now.
Okay.
And he got it. It wasn't like, what?
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad breakup.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't have to explain.
Okay.
He got it, especially because the last 2 months, I remember there was a lot of like events happening. And he was going through a hard time financially at that time. So I kept on going for these like birthday parties, and we're going for a trip, and I'm by myself. Because I was like, I'm not gonna pay for like your airfare. I think I did it maybe once, and I was like, this is giving me the ick, and I don't want to get the ick. Like, look at my person, and I'm like, I wish I wasn't built that way, but it's how I've grown up. I've grown up to feel like the man should be able to provide more than me. it's not something I can say that's how it should be. I wish it wasn't, because at the end of the day, these are the same men. We are in the same hustle.
Yeah.
We've gone to school with them the same.
Yeah.
We've graduated on graduation day the same day. But somehow that graduation dinner, they're the ones who need to pay for the drinks.
Yeah.
I get it. It's so unfair. But I am part of the system. Like I've been indoctrinated with this.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I have dated people who I knew even going in did not have the kind of money that I had.
Yeah.
But I've seen the problems it's caused, and I know it's because of my belief system, very subconscious belief system.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, it's gonna be hard. It would be hard to date, and yes, I would still date somebody who doesn't earn as much as me.
Yeah.
But it can't be too far off.
Yeah.
We cannot be so far off that we can't eat at the same places, travel in the same way, enjoy our lifestyles in a similar way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You get what I mean?
I get what you mean. Last question on this theme. If any of these three gentlemen were to make it and maybe they have, and make big money, do you regret it?
Why are you doing this to me, Barrack? I'll sound so materialistic.
Because they ticked all the other boxes, right? Mm-hmm. So would you regret it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Guess those three gentlemen have a chance.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say 2, not 3.
Two.
That I don't know what was that. But just let's say 2. Let's say 2. You know, again, because I'm a romantic, so sometimes someone will just come talk to me and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
And then where are we going? What food are we ordering from where?
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Not anymore. My nini has changed. My
Yeah.
nini has changed. When I was young, I didn't care. Now I do.
Okay. All right, cool. So let's get to where you start earning money, right? So what's your first job?
My first job straight out of uni, I was a sales rep at Coca-Cola, at Nairobi Bottlers. Yeah, and my route was in the CBD. In fact, first it was Uko Grogon, Riverside, River Road. Then I was brought uptown Kidogo, like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the pay like? Was it what do they call it? Commission based, or was there a fixed end commission?
It was fixed and commission. So I think our fixed, it was fixed and commission.
How much was your fixed?
I
If you
think
can
the
remember.
total was 30K or 20K. So the take home was 18,000.
Okay.
And then now the rest was based on commission.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the basic take home was 8K or 18, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. What was your best month off of commissions? If
I
you
never
can
made a
remember?
commission on that job.
So you'd only take home.
I only
that-
took.
that
I
18.
failed miserably at
Yeah.
that job. I think. No, actually, I got a commission once. I got a commission once, and it was like that month I took home 50,000.
Okay.
But after tax, I remember it came to it was 60,000, so it came to like 52 something. I remember that.
Okay.
But that was only once.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think is the most difficult thing?
And no one
about-
in my team, that entire route, the CBD team,
Yeah.
none of us made commissions. So me, I don't know how people were making money. I've even remembered somebody who I was with on that team that's an actor right now.
Yeah.
Brian Small, shout outs. Yes, we were on that route together. But yeah.
Okay. What do you think is the most difficult thing about being in sales? Because I think sales is I find it really difficult. I don't think I'm set up for sales.
If you have a high rejection sensitivity, sales will be hard for you.
Yeah.
Because out of 10 knocks, you probably only get 1. And 10 can take you all your mental capacities. So the hardest part is the picking yourself up, you know. But I always say, if I was a brand manager and I had to pick a bunch of people to work in my team, if I was a marketing manager and I need brand managers, I need brand execs, all of them have to have a background in sales and BTL. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I've had a background in that.
Yeah.
And I don't see how you can be in marketing and you've not done
understand.
sales.
Yeah.
You don't understand sales and you don't understand market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So after this sales stint, what comes next?
After the sales stint, so before I went to NBL, I was an intern at EABL, Diageo. But this is when I was still in uni. And while I was at Nairobi Bottlers, in the CBD, struggling, that job was rough. We used to go and have lunch at Jivanji with all the hawks and the rats. Anyway, so because I'd been really, really trying to get back into EABL, they called me. And then I tried to get in through they have a YP program, a Young Professionals program, like a graduate trainee thing. I did the application. I didn't get through. So straight out of uni, the only way to get into Diageo was through that YP program those days. But now they called me about a year, maybe 6 months to a year into my job at Bottlers, and they're like, hey, there's somebody who has left for maternity, and they're taking a long maternity because they had a lot of leave days. We're looking for somebody who can fill in, but you need to come and do you have to go through an interview process. So then I interviewed and I got in, and I wasn't even in marketing at that time. I was doing strategy, and then now when that lady came back, they
wanted to keep you.
They wanted to keep me, so they moved me into marketing as a brand exec.
Okay.
Yeah. And
what
so
does it pay like
there.
at EABL?
EABL, those days, when I first got in, I think I was only earning 65K, 65. But in comparison to all my friends, I was doing well. Because those days, a lot of people, when you're coming out of school, you're getting jobs of 15K, 20K, in marketing agencies, BTL agencies. So I was doing well, but I didn't know the value of money.
Yeah. So what did you just...
Me, I didn't care. Yeah. I didn't care about... Okay, by value, not spending. I'd save kidogo. What I mean by value is that I didn't know that this was a blessing. That like I'm making more than my friends. My drivers in life were about fitting in. I'd have probably been happy earning less so that I can fit in more with my friends rather than feeling so far removed because I'm working at ABL. You know what I mean? But I was proud to be working at ABL. I loved that place. I owe a lot of who I am today to East African breweries and the leadership I had at that time. So... shout out Caroline Kendi and Deborah Maloa. So I was earning, going in, I think it was about 60K. And then I remember I was bumped up to 80,000.
When you got to the marketing space?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was bumped up to 80K. Ikapanda kidogo 100K, negotiated a bit after I did a project that went well. So, yeah.
And I mean, what were you doing with your money at this time? If you can remember.
Nonsense.
Going out.
Can I tell you what my strategy was?
Yeah.
You know what I thought? Because my dad kept on telling me.
Yeah.
Save.
Yeah. Because at this time you're at home.
I'm still living at my mom's house.
Yeah.
Save 20% of your money every month. And when my dad told me to go and do a standing order, the word standing order was just too big for me. I said, oh no, I have to walk into a bank and ask them to do a standing order. You know what I mean? It felt so grown up for me. And I'm like 22 at the time. All I'm looking for in life is a boyfriend and a holiday.
Yeah.
And so what my strategy was, I'll never spend my money below 30K. When it gets to 30K, I stop. What kind of girl math is that?
But
because every month I get to 30K, so all I had was 30K. It's not like I was removing that 30K and putting it somewhere else.
So you only never spent the first 30K. After that, you spent everything. I see. That's quite a strategy.
So so eventually I don't know what.
Wait, so hold on. So for you somehow, this is it that you thought this 30,
bro,
the 30Ks would add up?
And there was a business. I graduated with international business administration, and I almost got into the honors list. I was in the honors list except for last year because I had a bad situation. But yeah,
that is insane.
Okay, so it was. I had said because I don't feel like going into the bank and doing this standing order. I thought this standing order was such a big thing. I was like, let me just not get to 30K. Then I think the intention was to the next month to get to 60. Then you know what I mean?
Yes, like to keep the increments.
But as life would have it, when your money is there and it has no objective, it'll find legs.
Yeah.
I don't care how good you are at saving. if the money is there and you don't know what you're going to do with it, it ends early.
So essentially, you had a 30K emergency fund.
I had a 30K emergency fund for a long time.
Yeah.
I was just living life, man.
And the rest is just life.
Yeah, I mean,
Did
I
you buy
was
a car?
driving.
Oh.
I was driving. So transport was what?
Yeah, it's like
maybe
barely,
60 bob a day.
Yeah.
There was lunch in the office. So my money was for my hair and my makeup and my, little deodorant, those things. Yeah.
And then the rest would find legs wherever.
It would find legs.
Yeah.
I wish somebody could take me back and be like, I'd have so much money today.
Gosh, okay.
Yeah.
So how long are you at EABL for?
For about 2 years, 2.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I've actually never spoken about this, but I had a huge career crisis in my 20s, existential career crisis. In fact, as soon as I started working, I just couldn't believe that this was what working is. And I felt so out of place. I just felt like I wasn't doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I thought marketing would require more of me creatively. I yearned to be doing things that took more out of me. Rather than creating brand strategies and helping execute these strategies with an agency who is actually doing the creative stuff. But I had no desire to get into the agency world because everybody at that time was trying to get into the client side, I was a bit directionless. So my mentor, who is still my mentor today, and she was my boss at EABL, she, we used to talk quite a bit. And she's like, babes, what you need to do, you're creative, so maybe you should go to agency. I'm like, I'm not going to agency. What do you want to do? Da, 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 da. Long story short, I decided I want to go do my master's degree. But truth be told, I didn't care for the master's degree. I just needed time to figure out why I'm having this feeling inside me. Because throughout my life, I never ever felt like I needed to rebel from the system and to be like, I don't like this. It was once I got out of school and I was like, this cannot be my life. This is it. And I remember even thinking, you mean to drive that car? My mentor used to drive a nice car. I was like, you mean to drive that car? This is the work, the typing emails, best regards, da da da. I just didn't get it. Yeah. And I knew I had other desires and other interests in life, but I had never packaged them. They were not packageable into a career. Yeah. You understand? So I never knew what next. Yeah. And I was in this state for a very long time, and it troubled me deeply. Yeah. And so when I decided to go do my master's, that gave me some time where I could be in limbo before now you fly out. You know what I mean? Yeah. I didn't want to go from Jobo to do my master's. Then. So at that point, I resigned because I knew I'm leaving to go do my master's. And I didn't want to have a blank on my resume. But then I also joined a band. So my mentor used to be in the Tasker team. And so she managed TPF, Tasker Project Fame. And through TPF, she met a bunch of producers, music producers, and so she introduced me to Timothy Rimbui. Has he been here?
He hasn't.
He needs to be here. So she introduces me to Tim, and Tim is a music producer. He used to... Yeah. What was his name those days? Innovator. Yeah. And I loved the album he produced with, what's her name? Carol Atemi. I loved the album he produced with Pam from the group. What are they called? Is it Sema? I know who Sema, with Sanaipe. Yeah. Anyway, so I loved Pam's music, and I knew, you would see innovator, producer. Those days we used to watch music videos on TV, like on KTN. So they'll tell you the title of the song, the name of the artist, the producer. So I always see innovator. And I'm like, who's this innovator? Anyway, so Caroline Kendi was my mentor. She's like, go talk to Tim. I'm still working in breweries at the time. Yeah. And he's like, because I wanted to sing. Yeah. And so I went to his studio.
Could you sing?
I don't know. I don't like to sing, I can, but I liked to.
Okay.
I loved to sing. And so he's like, okay, sing for me a song. And I and I sang for him a song.
Yeah.
Then I sang another one, and I sang another one. And then he didn't get back to me for a long, maybe 3 months or something like that. And in that time, I was in the process of my resignation, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go do my master's in the UK, da da da. And he says, so our lead, I want you to come and sing lead in this band. Can you come to the studio tomorrow? And I'm like, okay. And so I was in a band. And then during that period as well, I started to reconnect with my art. So I paint. I haven't painted in a long time, but I used to paint. So I'd stretch my own canvases and I paint portraits. Like you send me a picture and I paint it. And this was all for fun until a friend of mine who's an interior designer is like, I have a friend who has he's redecorating his house. Can I send you his picture and you paint him and I pay you? I didn't want to do it because I never used to paint men ever. I liked the female as a figure. And then this guy, he had dreadlocks. So I was like, how am I going to paint dreads? And he was standing under a tree and he had glasses. So there was so many shadows. I was like, I don't think I have the skill for this. Yeah. Anyway, I did it and it came out really well. And that was the first paid painting I had. And then also with the band, we were doing a little bit of gigs here and there. We went to Rwanda. We had little money. So there was some money coming in. Yeah. And that is where I dived into my creative juices, because I just felt like I'm creative, but not like to do emails all day. Right. You understand, but I didn't know what to do. Right. And so that's what happened next. Okay. And then after that, I went to do my master's, my MA.
So during this period, have you now eaten into your 30K emergency fund?
Aye, that one finished.
That one now is
what
finished.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
That one finished. Kabisa.
And
I was literally living month to month. In fact, it was the art that was sustaining me.
Your folks didn't want to give you any money.
How? Are they going to give me money? And they've taken me to university and I've graduated and they did for me a whole graduation party. Yeah. And then, my mom was like, painting is a hobby. Yeah. My dad is like, painting is a hobby. Why can't you paint on Saturday? That's literally what he said. Yeah. And then I remember even when my uncle Macharia Gaidho, do you guys know Macharia Gaidho? He was abducted by the police. Macharia Gaidho is...
People are asking on Twitter if you're related, actually.
We are. Yeah. So Uncle Macharia is my uncle. So Uncle Macharia he used to be an artist, by the way, before journalism. He was actually a fine artist. And so when he heard that nimekuwa msanii, he's like, oh, so now you're taking a sabbatical. Again, I went to my dictionary, sabbatical. I didn't know what it meant. Yeah. So I'm like, I guess I'm taking a sabbatical. He's like, you're taking a sabbatical to become an artist. That's good. I'll introduce you. In fact, I have a friend. His name is Kehos. Kehos has a studio in Banana. I'll introduce you to him, and somewhere they go down in South Bay. And I remember just feeling so sad about these associations. Like all artists were in this. No one is saying that they're in, Kitisuru or they're it's always like, I'll hook you up with this guy. He does this thing in this underground place. Yeah. So I was so anxious about this. Yeah. I was anxious and upset, like at God. I'm like, why are you giving me these gifts and you're not giving me a path to success? And then, and you made sure my life was comfortable before. You know what I mean? Like, I wish I failed all my exams. Hadi, my folks are like, you have no choice but to be an artist. Yeah. I guess this is your thing. So
at this time in your life, and maybe I should have asked this before actually, your philosophy around money and dating and in your relationship and that not being a factor that you are looking at. So at this point in time in your life, for yourself, is money a thing that you're thinking about as a measure of success for how you're doing in life? Or are you still, trying to live and those are the things you're looking for out of life, so money is not a factor that you're really considering?
No, money was a factor now. Yeah. As soon as I got out of uni, there's no pocket money anymore because I used to get a pocket money every month. Yeah. Excuse me. I used to get pocket money every month. Now there's no pocket money because I finished uni and I got a job. So then I've resigned. Yes, I know I'm going to go to school, but like figure your life out. Yeah. So
so money is a factor.
Money is a factor. Yeah. In fact, that is the first time in my life that my mental health was challenged. Like I was depressed. Mm-hmm. As much as I was happy that I was doing this, is because I was depressed because of this space I was in. I'm just like, what is my purpose? Yeah. What was I made for? What am I here for?
Yeah.
And I really did believe in the ideology that if you just take the first step, the rest of the staircase will open or unfold. But in your day-to-day, my dignity was challenged.
Yeah.
Because my friends are going to Mercury, and I'm like, how am I going to do that math?
Yeah.
And that's
so now you are the guy who you don't want to date.
I hadn't even met that guy.
No, I'm
yet.
saying, but you are that guy.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you're saying, I don't know how I'm going to make money for.
I was broke.
Yeah.
And my friends are going to work every day, and I knew I was like, this is not the space for me. But then what is?
Yeah.
So I just made an effort to just give it my all, but I wish I had the support that I needed at that point.
Yeah.
Like not financial support, just the support that I can do this. It's okay. It's not wrong to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
But it was all me, and then me being a firstborn.
Yeah.
And coming from a family where there were no creatives per se,
Yeah.
it looked like I was doing something so wrong. So that was another pressure I was feeling. It was a lot for me. It was a tough time.
Yeah.
It was a tough time.
So what was the UK like then for you in finding this space?
The UK was a space for me where I could go back to... I could figure myself out without the pressure of having to perform as an adult. And so I loved it because it gave me that time and that space. But it also liberated me financially because that broke season, I was like, I am never going to be broke like that again. I will never, ever, ever be broke. Like I was like, I'm never going to do that. So the minute I landed in the UK, within 2 weeks, I had an NI number. And that's what allows you to be able to apply for jobs and stuff. So as much as I was a student, I was like, I'm getting a job, and I got a job. So I was working while I was in school.
Yeah.
At this time, it was not even about loving your job or what is my purpose.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to go wireless festival in summer. Okay.
Yeah.
So like, I need the money.
Yeah.
I want to wear nice clothes.
So your folks are meeting your cost to a point.
They are meeting my cost to a basic point.
Yeah.
London is not cheap, man.
Yeah.
It's so bloody expensive. So I even remember asking my dad, can you just add me like extra 30, 40 pounds for groceries? Because like I was really, living, what do you call it?
Not hand to mouth, but like the
it
money.
Was hand to mouth. It was hand to mouth. Like
Yeah.
I was, my life was so budgeted,
Yeah.
and you think about paying for the tube and you think about paying for food and then your social life.
Yeah.
It wasn't cheap. So I decided to get a job. Like whether or not I was like, I'm getting extra money.
Yeah.
Especially because I could see my
expenses.
Not my expenses, but like my schedule before I went there. And my cousins who had been there before, my cousin was just like, if you're in London, get a job.
Yeah.
So she really held my hand. She's like, go get an NI number here, go do this, put your application in the job center on this street, because she knew where I lived. And that's how I lived in the UK.
Okay. And then you come back.
And then I come back.
Yeah.
And again, when I come back, I was like, I'm not coming here to go through what I went through the last time. So I came back already having a job. I applied for jobs when I was in London.
Okay. What job? What?
So now this is how Capital FM comes in.
Okay.
That's how I know Pinky, but we were not there at the same time.
Yeah.
I think she was just leaving when I was coming in.
Yeah. So what's the job at Capital?
Going in now, I was in BTL.
Okay.
There's a BTL agency inside Capital FM.
Yeah.
So back in marketing.
Yeah.
And
I hear they don't pay very well. Well, at some level, they don't pay very well. Others can be different. Yeah.
I don't want to talk smack about my former employer, but it was not the best.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best.
Yeah.
But I was not going to come here and start figuring things out.
Yeah.
I was like, let me just get my foot in.
Yeah.
Let me get my foot in. And let me start with a job that I know was easy for me to get because I had networks already.
Yeah.
So, and I had actually applied, I had gotten this job, and then I was going to be absorbed into the company, and then I got the acceptance letter from my uni in the UK. So I had to be like, oh, sorry, I have to decline.
Yeah.
So coming back, I called the head of marketing at that time, and I was like, are there still openings? Can I send my resume? He's like, Tuma, we see what happens. Yeah. And so, so I got in first in the BTL side of things. But I remember the job description was not matching So I didn't know I was entering BTL. I thought this is event management in the sense that maybe like if there are conferences, so it's like I'll be producing an event kind of thing. And that's what that's what I thought about because I was thinking about radio.
Yeah.
And then when I got in and we did like our first, like my first 2 weeks there, that guy who got me the job, the head, he was on leave. So when he comes back, I sat down with him. I asked him, is this a BTL agency? He said, yeah, exactly. Because I kept on asking him, so what am I exactly supposed to do? So he's talking, and our meeting has gone on for like 15 minutes. Then I asked him, so is this a BTL agency? He's like, exactly. And I just felt the world go black because I was like, oh my God, I didn't want to ever do BTL.
Yeah.
You know, ever.
Yeah.
I didn't want to ever do sales again. Like, I was like, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be jobless.
Yeah.
So I stayed in that department. Oh my God. And then...
How much were they paying?
100K.
Okay.
So take home was 72.
70 something. Yeah.
And then you'd promised commissions, obviously. So we had sales targets, but none reached those targets. So that was my take home. That was, in fact, going in, I had come in saying I'm not taking less than 150.
Yeah.
And then they negotiated, you're going to get commissions. Everyone here, look at these people. Everyone here is so happy. They get commissions. You see people, even they stay here they've been here even for 10 years.
Yeah.
No one leaves capital. Da, da, da. And I said, okay. So I said, okay, fine, I'll go down to 100. Or rather, I was trying to get to 120, but they were just really not budging because they're like, you're going to get commissions. Commissions are even up to 300K, 400K, da, da, da. And then I remember when we got to that 100, I said, I'm not going lower. Actually, I'm happy to say
it's fine.
Yeah. And they said, okay. And then when I was already in the job, now the then finance manager comes and sits with me and she's like, I don't know who agreed to this, 100K, as we can only afford 80K. And I just told her, I'm sorry, if we're doing 80K, I'll just have to...
Yeah.
I was so mad at her for that woman.
Yeah.
Because she was trying to manipulate me.
Yeah.
And I told her, unfortunately, having an in of 80K is not going to meet my basic expenses. So I can't take this. And she was kind of doing that thing where she's like, you see, everyone else in this department is earning this amount.
Yeah.
You've just come in. How can we pay you this amount? And it's true. That's how people are earning.
Yeah.
But there are some people who are very smart in how they did their work and they're able to get commissions. How long is that going to take me? Long story short, that's how much I was earning.
Yeah.
And it was not
ideal. Yeah.
Especially because at that time now my friends who had been in Nairobi while I was away.
For those 2 years,
they've really been grinding and they've leveled up, you understand? But anyway, that's what happened. And then somewhere in there, the sales director kept on saying, this is not a chick of BTL. This chick needs to come here and bring us business.
Yeah.
Because I guess they would see how I'm pitching for clients, And eventually I was poached into the sales side.
Yeah.
And there now I made some delicious commissions from time to time.
Yeah.
But they did change the structure of commissions, which now made it impossible for people to earn money. And it was around that time, and plus some, office politics and some leadership that was a bit not the best. I decided to hang my boots, and that was about 4 or 5 years. But the whole time I was there, remember when the world became black, from that day,
it was like that.
It was like that. And I was having the same feeling I had before this that I had when I was working at the brewery. And I was like, I'm lost.
Yeah.
I don't feel like this is it for me.
Yeah.
But I couldn't go back to that being broke.
Okay. I have a question. What's your largest take home, once with the commissions that they were then able to get? What's the largest take home you ever took home? Largest take home, I guess, that you took home at Capital with the commissions.
The largest I took was about 700,000.
Yeah.
Initially, they gave me the target of 2M, and then I was promoted, and then my target now became 6 million a month. So I had to bring home 6 million for
you to get
Chris
commissions.
Kurubi. Yeah, may he rest in peace. But that month I brought in 9M.
Yeah.
So I was able to take home I think it was 7 or 8. It was a lot. I remember it hit my bank account when I was in the parking lot about to enter the Safaricom building to pitch for another job.
Yeah.
Masoko.
Yeah.
And I was like going through my pitch deck.
And then you get the
And then I got the text and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But as soon as I got when I was in the lift and we were now in the lobby about to enter with my boss to pitch for this business for Koroga, I think it's Koroga Festival.
Yeah.
I was just like, I didn't feel that thing of, no, I want to keep going. I was just like, this is not the place for me, man.
Yeah.
I knew it, but I didn't want to leave. And I had other job opportunities, like to get into like brand management, leave sales, and like, for example, even go back to the brewery.
Yeah.
There was a conversation somewhere in that.
Yeah.
But I knew that generally this is not the space for me.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what was. So I was like, let me just stay with the devil I know.
Yeah.
Because once I go back to client side,
Yeah.
I will not be able to leave.
Yeah.
That I will be stuck there.
Yeah.
I'm going to settle down. I'm going to get pregnant. I'm going to have a baby. And once that happens, I can't start pursuing these things.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me just stay here in this place that
Yeah.
I'm not very happy at. It's able to meet my financial obligations as of now.
Yeah.
And it still allows me to do the creative stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
So by the time you're leaving Capital, what have you done with your money?
So by that point, I'd already gotten into the saving culture.
Okay.
I had already my standing orders. I had all that stuff going on. And I think that's it. I'm not very good with money. I'm not confident in my money habits.
Yeah.
I wish I could sit here in front of you and tell you I have an MMF here, and I have bought a piece of land in Kitengela here, and I am about to get the title deed for this one here.
Yeah.
No, me, all I know about money is save.
Yeah.
Investing is a very, very new, not new, but it's a foreign concept to me.
Yeah.
And it's something I have a problem with. I don't know if this is the time to talk about this. I have a problem with how we are not educated about investing.
Yeah.
I feel like this is something that needs to be taught literally from kindergarten.
Yeah.
I've given you 1 shilling. How can we make it 5 shillings? What does that mean? The concept of profit. I remember even the concept of investment. When people use the word investment as a verb and as a noun, I did not understand that for a long time in my undergrad. I'm like, what do they mean invest in this? And what do they mean investment?
Yeah.
And what do they mean to invest? I couldn't understand the term.
Yeah.
And this is me as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old in university.
Yeah.
I feel like they are holding us. They is the system.
Yeah.
It's like they just want to teach you how to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Just
6.
enough. Yeah.
Just enough. And then so you grow up thinking that people who know how to grow money it's a God-given gift.
Like special.
You don't know that it's a skill set that is learned the same way you've learned
math or whatever.
The same way you've learned how to groom yourself.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
But when you're young, you're taught you have to brush your teeth when you wake up. I wake up in the morning, wash my face, brush my teeth. There needs to be a song about investment. Yes.
Okay, cool. So you have a couple of saving accounts essentially. You've done the standing order thing that you had not done X years before. When does over 25 come in?
Over 25 comes in when it
those
goes
4
black.
years.
When it went black.
Yeah. In that 4-year period.
2 weeks into the company.
Oh, 2 weeks into the company.
Remember, I had a meeting with my boss, and he's like, exactly. And when he said exactly, I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I should have stayed in London. I should have stayed in London. And now Theresa May has brought in this bloody Brexit.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So I was sitting at my desk, and I'm just like, don't resign, don't resign, don't resign, don't resign, don't resign, don't resign. And I'm like, I can't make money as an artist. And unfortunately, I'm accustomed to nice things, you know, like deodorant and white toilet paper. And I don't want to be broke again I can't afford that, or I'm stealing my mom's deo because I don't have enough money. I don't want to go through that again. So I was like, okay, clearly I love to create. So I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be spending my entire weekends rather than like partying. We shoot on Saturdays and then Sunday I'm editing. I just needed a place to feel like Monday is worth it. Yeah. And thus, Over 25 was born.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the conversation? Do you call, I hope I got all the names right. Do you call Ivy, Shiki, and Lonzi and be like, hey, this is my idea. I want to do this. Are you guys in? Is like typical conversation, or do you have it as a group? Do you have it individually?
Yeah. So we have this group on WhatsApp called that I created when I was a singer, because WhatsApp groups were new on WhatsApp.
Yes.
WhatsApp was also new.
Yes.
Gen Zs cannot imagine a world without group
WhatsApp
chat
or texting.
Yeah. So I remember I was singing and I was like, I'm doing a listening kind of party. Like you guys sit down and like I sing on the microphone. So I created a group. So in that group, my friends were all there. So when I decided to start a YouTube channel, I went into the group and I said, guys, I'm starting a YouTube channel. I want to do it with friends. Please let me know if you're interested. I only want 1 or 2 people max. So I wanted it to be 3 or 2.
Okay.
But I wanted to be in control creatively of that thing.
Yeah.
And so I put it in the group and I said, I'm going to be shooting at my house on Saturday. Whoever is available, come. And so that first Saturday, Shiko and Lonzi came. And Ivy joined us much later. So she asked Shiki, ask Jules if I can join this thing you guys are doing. I think after she saw a few episodes.
Yeah.
Because, Ivy is also very much a creative and she loves being in front of the camera.
Yeah.
So anyway, so then we became the 4 of us.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. We went back and forth. So the names, guys, I offered the name Over 25 and they were like, oh, that's so, I don't know how to, So they said throwing in names, and I was actually not asking like for permission, and I didn't know how to communicate this. By the way, Over 25 has taught me so much. So I just said cheers.
You didn't know how to this is what
I didn't know how to. In the office I know how to say no.
Yeah.
Say be a leader.
Yeah.
But with my friends, I didn't know how to because I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to act like, but I'm like, but this is my shit, y'all. So we're going to call it Over 25.
Yeah.
The reason I wanted to call it Over 25 is I was so nervous about being online.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why actually I wanted friends. Because I was like, if we're going to be trolled, we'll be trolled all of us, not me alone.
Yeah.
1. 2, we're calling it Over 25 because at that point I was 26.
Yeah.
And remember, my entire 20s was a big existential crisis.
Yeah.
Who am I? Why am I here? What am I here to do?
Yeah.
So I was worried the one thing they're going to get on us is that what are these old babes doing online?
Yeah.
So we're going to call it Over 25.
So that
it's like, but it's grown-ass conversations up in here.
Yeah.
So you can't, I was getting ahead of the trolling.
Yeah.
I had really seen the full.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, we're sticking with Over 25. I love it. That's what it is.
Looking back now, right? Because I guess for this theme, I want us to discuss a little bit about Over 25. Looking back now, the way when you leave a relationship or terminate a relationship, or then you're looking back and you're like, yeah, there was a red flag there, and I ignored it, and that was one of the reasons why we ended up, where we ended up now.
Isn't the reason why you break up always the thing that you noticed at the beginning? It's like, it's always the...
Anyway, so whatever the case. So now I'm asking, retrospectively.
It's about to get spicy up in here.
Retrospectively, like looking back now, are there red... And anyway, through this conversation, we'll contextualize all of this Over 25 questions I'm asking. But are there red flags like that you're seeing at this point that you're like, yeah, this is going to be a problem? And are you conscious about it?
Maybe I can start with mine.
Yeah.
I won't talk about other people's red flags because I'm not here to talk. Because they are there. They were there.
Yeah.
But let me just talk about mine. I wish I was able to communicate my no's better.
Yeah.
I would always push my issues under the carpet because I'm trying to avoid conflict. But those things would end up coming up later. And then it's because I don't have the skill set to, at the time, I didn't have the skill set to resolve conflict with friends.
Yeah.
And conflict will arise when you're working together, whether you like it or not. And by conflict, I mean difference in opinion. Or difference in a way of doing things. So yeah, I wish I did that a bit better. I wish we got into a contract at the beginning. A contract that clearly stipulated who did what and what was their role. And the back ends, is it the back? Or the back ends with who?
Yeah.
So for example, when the logo, we changed our logo, I remember I had it was just like, oh, there's a graphic designer I know, we have a new logo. What do you guys think? And it's like, I created the name and the logo at the time. I should have been bold enough. What I wanted was that all creative direction ends with me.
Yeah.
I decide what are our colors, what's the look and feel, what's our font. In my mind, that's who I was in
over 25.
Yes, but I didn't have the balls to say, guys, I want to be the creative director, and even if you feel a color looks better, it's me who needs to decide.
Yeah.
But other things like finance, which client are we working with? How many reels should we give them? How many stories? Because I would always give too much and then we'd get into a fight. Like, why did you give all this? And I'm like, I didn't know when you have to give exactly 3. It's like, no, we can't. So we'd get into those because we had different ways of working.
Yeah.
So I wish we got into a contract where we're like, this is the creative director, this is finance, this is business development, this is such and such.
Yeah.
So that when somebody says something, it's like, okay, let's respect that we are not going to give more than 4 reels.
Yeah.
Or we are not going to go and now work with another client that is going to cause a conflict of interest. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But we didn't know.
Yeah.
We didn't know any better, to be honest.
Yeah.
And also we didn't know how to work together.
Yeah.
We knew how to be friends, but we didn't know how to work together.
Okay. When do you form the company? When do you form the company?
Oh, I can't remember exactly when we formed the company.
How soon after you guys started did you form the company?
I literally have no memory. We were together for 7 years.
Yeah.
So I can't remember.
It was at somewhere.
It was somewhere in there, and I think it was, again, Ivy's director. Ivy was just very good with business stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So, no, I think I was Lorna. Lorna is one was like, we need to form a limited company, something. One of them. I just know it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Me, I was just here for
vibes.
No, I was here for the content.
Sorry. Yes, for the content.
I was here for the content. Yes,
and
the
outlet,
vibes.
Your outlet.
Yes. In fact, I didn't want anything to do with company. I didn't want anything to do with clients, and I was like, this is what I'm doing in the office.
Yeah.
Now you want me to come here and start doing a pitch deck again?
Do you split it 4 ways?
Yes, we had to split 4 ways. It wasn't just 4 ways. We had 60% going back into the company.
No, I'm not even talking about money. I'm talking about ownership of over 25.
Yes, we split it 4 ways.
Do you feel like that? I mean, looking back now, do you feel like that was fair or a fair? And the reason why I'm asking this is based off of how you've sort of narrated the creation, the inception of over 25. It sounds like it was your thing, and yes, you're inviting collaborators to come on board. Do you think you would have you could have asked for?
Yes, I would have, and actually my dad is the one who pointed it out.
Yeah.
I have no regrets that we did it the way we did it.
Yeah.
And please let me make that very categorical. I don't feel like I was played.
Yeah.
But now, looking back, knowing what I know now, I wish you'd have listened to my dad, because he kept asking me, so you're the one who's shooting? Yes.
It's at
You're
your
the
house.
one who is editing? Yes.
Yeah.
We are shooting in our house, in my house. He said, my house. I remember exactly where we were. We were driving from the airport on Outer Ring Road, and he's like trying to understand, because now we were in the papers. Yeah. And he's like, oh, so this thing you guys are doing is a serious thing, eh?
Yeah.
And so he was trying to understand the back end of things. And I told him, no, everything is split 4 ways.
Yeah.
And he said, but you're the one who does it, but you're the one who does this, and you're the one who does this. And he's like, and you think that's fair? And I said, Dad, I don't want to argue with my friends. He's like, no, there's a place for friendship and there's a place for business.
Yeah.
And I had him, and he gave me what his recommendation was. She probably getting a little bit more, because even the equipment, I bought it with my own money.
Yeah.
The new camera, the new laptop, to edit now, because before I was editing on my dad's laptop and stuff, So he was seeing me doing these things, but I was just so happy that my friends agreed.
Yeah.
Barrack. I was just so happy to be doing this with my friends.
Yeah.
I was happy that they thought my
idea,
my shit was dope.
Yeah.
When I would edit and they're like, oh my God, Jules, good stuff. Thank you so much. It was enough for me.
Yeah.
But looking back, I would have done things differently, because over time, I started feeling like I want to say it, but I just didn't have the language. No, I just didn't have the skill set.
Yeah.
I didn't have the skill set. And I was just like, oh, I don't want to beef with my homies. So like, and then you see, it would always feel like it's 3 against 1.
Yeah.
Because it's me pushing for an agenda that the 3 of them are not a part of.
Yeah.
And that was my biggest fear.
Yeah.
That they would do that.
Yeah.
And so I would end up just saying yes, okay.
Then it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, but then I'm sitting here like, you know, how comes when the money has come, you know, I wanted to say, I wish some of this money can be used to pay me back
for the investments
for the investment. And until today, I've never had the balls to say that. Oh no, I think now we've talked about it. Actually, we did. And I was like, in fact, with Ivy is the one who used to really back me up.
Yeah.
Contrary to popular belief. She really used to be like, you should be animal, you should be doing this, you know, but I'm just like, again, I don't need to be a 3 against 1.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. I'll take you to a conversation 2015. I believe it was 2015.
Is it clickbait?
It's not clickbait. I don't know. It has it has nothing. No, it's not nothing to do with the public, public whatever. 2015. I founded an agency, talent management agency, and then I left. I think we got your number through. It was either you or Lonnie. I can't remember. But through my brother, and I leave because I'm going to the UK to study. But then 2 of my partners come and meet you guys.
Oh, it wasn't you?
It wasn't me.
You were not the guy?
No, that was my brother.
Oh, your brother is also good looking. I remember he was a good looking guy.
I will. He'll watch this.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I remember just thinking, oh, so it wasn't you? You look alike, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, we are brothers. We look alike, yeah. His name is James.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was James. And,
oh, was it? This whole time, Barrack, I'm like, we met you and Wamaire.
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Okay. He also has muscles.
I guess.
James, never mind.
Do you have muscles?
Yeah. He was good. He was an attractive boy. I remember. Anyway,
so I was gone, but you know, at that time we were looking for clients. We had been working with a bunch of different people and like trying to help them monetize. And so they come and we have a conversation. Well, the company has a conversation with you guys at I don't remember what it was. I think it was Art Cafe or something.
It was Art Cafe in Westgate.
And all I remember was because I thought like it was gonna be like in the bag because at that time. There were very few people offering talent management services. You know, it's based on commission, so nobody's taking any money from you, so to speak. I feel like our track record at that time for the work we had done was relatively good. So I thought it was gonna be like in the bag. And then I remember having a conversation a couple of days later, and they're like, "Oh, you know, no, like over 25 have gone a different direction." And then when we met last week to talk about this podcast, you said something really interesting that I think would be important to bring out with regard to the value and commercialization of what you guys were trying to do but didn't fully realize. So maybe the question I'll ask you first is, why did you not sign? If you can remember.
What I remember from my perspective, I can't remember what we decided as a group.
Yeah.
I actually have no memory of that because you guys came to us very early on.
Yeah.
I think we were only a year old or something. We were babies in the space. And for me, I remember just thinking, I don't understand what this is.
Yeah.
Like you said, there were not many people doing this, da-da-da. So you can imagine, you've just started a YouTube channel. YouTube channeling is relatively new in the industry.
Yeah.
And me and my girls have barely even started making money.
Yeah.
And then here are these people we don't know who've popped out of the woodwork and said, hey, we want to manage you, but any money you get, we get 20%, 25, something like 25 or 30. It was, you know.
Yeah.
And we're like, already we are 4 people.
Yeah.
Already, you know. Yeah. So, and I remember just not understanding why the 4 of us couldn't do that, especially because we were already in the marketing space.
Yeah.
We already had access to a client base actively at the time.
Yeah.
And also as a group, I don't think we knew. I don't think we understood our value. Yeah. And we didn't have the foresight you guys had.
Yeah.
This stuff you guys were saying, and to me, it just sounded like American fantasies and fallacies. I was like, this guy is talking to us as if we are in Hollywood. We are not in Hollywood. And we are not celebrities.
Yeah.
You know, I just felt like not connected to that narrative.
Yeah.
And I believe it's because we did not know our worth. We did not know our value.
Yeah.
And we did not know how big YouTube podcasting on YouTube was going to become.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody did. Maybe you guys did.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the concept of talent management.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you made it very clear to me last week. There's a difference between a manager and an agent, a sales agent.
Yeah.
And a lot of times in this country, they are merged together.
Yeah.
So we were trying to see, we were like, I think for me, it was a bit of, I don't know my value. I don't know who these people are. And I don't understand how this thing works. And then when you guys came with a contract, we had never even signed a contract at that point with anyone.
Yeah.
So that already me, I remember thinking, hey, we're going to be tied down here for life. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was just purely a thing of not understanding.
Yeah.
And looking back, I wish we took it on. I really wish we took it on because I think it would have now, you see all those things I'm telling you, that these red flags, like we didn't have clear structures in place.
Yeah.
I feel like being under management would have helped streamline
solidify
that.
some of those things. Okay. So if I was to ask you to estimate or guesstimate, well, first of all, do you think that Over 25 made as much money as it could have?
Nope. No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
How much do you think you made over 7 years?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Definitely in the millions.
Yeah.
But
above 10?
I think they're around there.
Thereabout.
I think they're about.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad. It was towards the. It was doing well.
Yeah.
But I think we would have made more.
Yeah.
And I feel that if you're doing group projects, demand more.
Yeah.
You can't be paid the same as somebody who is one person.
Yeah.
Especially if you're 4 people, you're giving 4 times the value because you're going to individually go and push those things on your individual pages.
Yeah.
And individually. So I feel as a group, we should have, we used to try and charge more, but clients were just not budging. And then also, this space is new. So brand managers, a lot of them are not understanding this digital thing.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm like, why are you coming to us but you're still acting like, we don't have to give you this money.
Yeah.
It's like, then don't give us the money. Go do print, go do radio, go do TVC.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, yes, I think we should have made more money.
Yeah. Because it looked like it's averaging at about 1 point something a year. 1.5 a year, maybe 1 point.
No, it could have, there are times it was low, there are times it was high,
Yeah.
especially towards the end. At the beginning we were not really making much, but we made good money, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember even us just being given like, it was Desperados at the time.
Yeah.
Man, I'm going to butcher these numbers because it's been so long.
Yeah.
Desperados was such a long time ago. I don't even think I was 30 years old yet when we did Desperados. But they gave us something like 1.2 or 1.6.
Yeah.
And they were telling us how they were about to pull that brand out of the market. They had no other marketing plan.
Yeah.
But one of the brand execs was like, let's really work with these girls.
Yeah.
And after that, they called us into their office like, we don't like blowing anyone's trumpet.
Yeah, but you guys have literally saved this brand. Yeah.
And it was from that day that we stopped having other brands on set because we used to drink as we were shooting.
Yeah.
Drink wine, drink ciders, whatever. And we'd have the bottles there.
Yeah.
We were not, again, we didn't see.
Yeah.
We didn't see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope I've answered your question.
I think it has. I think there's a question. So I would estimate probably between 10 to 20 if I'm giving it a big range.
I would say that over the 7 years.
Yeah.
And there's times where we almost made nothing.
Yeah.
In because we'd take breaks from time to time. Again, we didn't have a very clear strategic direction. There's so many things I would do different if I was to go back to it. The 4 of us were to get back together. Yeah.
And comparison, if I'm asking you, because you worked in sales when sales was sales. When sales execs in traditional media were making, millions.
I actually just missed that boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't there in the golden years.
Yeah. Where
people were going home with 1 meter, 2 meter. When I was there, it was just 1 or 2 people because they had the big clients.
Yeah.
This chick has a Safaricom, this other person has EABL, this other person, and once somebody has their client, it's their client.
Yeah.
Sales is very cutthroat.
Yeah.
It is it's really cutthroat.
Yeah.
By the time I got there, it was much harder to make commissions.
Yeah.
And I remember even asking some of my colleagues, like, where are these commissions you people talk about?
Yeah.
Because mine were not. In fact, you see that 80K that HR manager was telling me.
Yes.
My boss was earning that. But when I asked her, how much are you earning? She's like, I don't even know, because I take home so much in commissions. And I know how much her commissions are because I could see the revenue. Every week, we get the revenues that everyone is making, line item, and you know the target, and you know the structure, the payout structure, the commission structure. So I knew how much money she's taking home, even after tax. And when I told her, now that I've moved from BTL to sales, you guys need to bump up my salary, and you keep giving me promotions. I was promoted like 3 times, but it's just my salary wasn't changing. So I asked her, "When you, how much do you earn?" Like real talk. She's like, I think like 80 or 60. I don't even know, but me, I make commissions. But she was the one of the few who would get money every month because she had big clients, and she was so good at building relationships with clients and bringing in money. My God, that woman could make money. So I think I missed that boat. I really had to grind hard to get that 9 million that one time, which was my best performing month. It was much harder. Media was now becoming very
disrupted, as it were.
Yes. Traditional media was getting disrupted, and it was getting harder and harder to sell traditional media that does not have the numbers that digital media has.
Okay. So, as we're wrapping up on this theme, I mean, there's at least, I know there's at least one video about the conflict that you and Ivy had that's up on YouTube. I know that when you guys hadn't done for a while, and then you shot, and then you're like, I think it's called We Had a Beef or something like that. And the general vibe, the general feeling is that Over 25 broke up because there were 2 big personalities, namely you and her, and it just became too much. Of course, all of us are on the outside. We have no idea what's actually going in. I guess from where you sit, my question is, did it boil down to the 2 of you, ultimately?
No.
Yeah. There was a lot more.
Going on. Remember, Lorna had just become a mom. We were in different places in life. And from my perspective, individual brands were just taking precedent over 25 as a brand. So priorities were shifting. Before, we had a saying inside the group that over 25 over anything else. So if somebody comes to you and says, I have a gig, do you want to do it? First sell over 25, then sell yourself. But then now that started changing. Because people's individual financial obligations were also changing. You understand? So we kind of started losing our north. What are we doing here? What are we talking about? And people's individual brands started changing and becoming different from the brand of over 25. So you don't even know how to show up in over 25. And that's what I talked about at the final video. We didn't know who we were anymore as a group. I think if we were to ever get back together, and I'm always open and I'd love to. I love over 25. That's it has always been my happy space and my safe space. Now, because we are so clear on who we are, we would know who over 25 became its own. A 5th member. You understand? It was not just Julia, Shiko, Ivy, and it was Julia, Shiko, Ivy, Lorna, and then over 25, and the personality it had. So it was an evolution. It was something that needed to happen. Me and Ivy are 2 very strong personalities. We are very passionate, but we always used to call each other we were each other's kindred spirits. Because when there was something happening, every time there was something happening in over 25, she's the one person I could count on who could get where I'm coming from. It wasn't just me and her. I would have beef with Lord and beef with Shiko. You know, like it happens when you're working together. You don't like the way somebody's doing something with a client. You don't think, whatever. But whenever I'd be like, Ivy was actually the person I used to call. And be like, what the
is happening?
What the hell is happening? Shouldn't we be prioritizing this? And she's like, so next time we're having our meeting on Thursday, make sure you say it like this. I never used to have the balls to talk and say these things. And sometimes she would say things that I want to say. So that misconception, sometimes I feel like, should we have done that video? Because like it created this assumption that me and her are fighting for the limelight. And I have no desire for the limelight, to be honest. I like it, but now that I've experienced it, it ain't it. It ain't it. I'm telling you. I am telling you. Me, it has to match with the bank account. I'd rather have money than fame. So So I hope that has answered your question.
Yeah, it has.
It has. So that I feel like that means like, and I know she's the one who really wanted to do that. Did we have beef video?
Yeah.
Eventually I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah.
And we did it, but then after this, like, bruh, are you understanding? Once this thing is out there, you can't control what it becomes. Yeah. And
so do you think that video then sort of set up the narrative for that people have now?
It did. I don't think I fully regret doing that video, but I think it created a narrative that was, so it was not the actual truth on the ground.
Yeah.
Yes. And yes, Ivy is a strong personality. And yes, I am a strong personality. But that is a woman I respect more than anything. I look up to her.
Yeah.
Her drive and tenacity is so unmatched.
Yeah.
She knows how to pick up on your goods. Like, she'll come and tell you, you're a creative. When I'm setting up an agency, an influencer marketing agency, you're the one who's going to do it. You know, she tells me things that I don't even know about myself.
Yeah.
So I have nothing ill to say about her. Did we butt heads? Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you're two strong women in a group.
Yeah.
You know, but we try to find a way to have a system of, you know, like when we are getting heated, we used to say mango, you know. So that's our cue for
it's now
it's time to, you can't help it.
Yeah.
I'm passionate. She is passionate. And I'm also sensitive as, you know. So she might say something. I'm like, why did you say it like that? She's like, why are you so sensitive? You know what I mean? But it's not that now it means we can't work together.
Yeah.
It just means we have to find a different way to dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So, friends, all of you still?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it immediate after you guys like finished and ended over 25, so to speak? Were you just still like, yeah, we're just friends, we're just chilling?
We're still friends. We've been friends since Form 1, high school. Those are my girls from high school.
Yeah.
And then we were in uni together.
Yeah.
And then we had a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So we're still friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, we don't meet every week like we used to.
Yeah.
But we're still friends.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
That's still my core circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has changed things a bit.
Yeah.
Because we don't see each other as often. But I'm happy now it's just friendship. It's not, we're just meeting to do over 25. Yeah.
And you said you're open to redoing it in a different way.
Now I am. At the time, I felt like I really needed to mourn what that was. It was not easy for me also to say goodbye. But now I feel like if we were to do a comeback.
What was the most difficult thing about it? About saying goodbye, about ending what you ended at that time?
The shoot days.
Yeah.
The banter. Yeah. Not having that. And not learning things about your friends. Because you see when you're shooting, somebody will say something and you're like, that's what you're going through right now. We were together having drinks yesterday, you know. Yeah. So I miss that. I miss that. Now we have to be so intentional. It can be quite tedious. Yeah. Over 25 also made it easier to be friends. Yeah. Yeah, because we don't have to be like, when are you free? It's like we're meeting. And then after shooting, obviously, we're going to go get something to eat. And we're going to hang out. And then we catch up. So now it's, I think that's the hardest part. Just letting go of that. I used to be on top of things. I know what's happening in everyone's life. Yeah. Right now, it's like, is everyone okay? We're good? Yeah. Okay, no one needs to be lifted from the depths of the deep blue waters. Yeah.
Okay. So guys, we've gotten to like I'd say like the halfway point, like the halfway point of the discussion that we intended to have with Jules. So let's call this a part one, right? Let's call this a part one because there's life after over 25. There's and now being a creative in this space and what's that's been like. So this is what I want to do. I want to leave it here because we are also potentially working on something. I'm not going to announce anything, but we're potentially working on something. But so what I will promise is that we will have the part 2 where we'll be able to now talk about Jules' life post over 25 and now leaving Capital and being a full-time creator. But we've done this for 2 hours now.
Oh my God.
We've done this for 2 hours now.
Wild.
Yeah. So let's cap it.
Isn't it fun when your work is so fun that you don't keep track of time? Remember in the office, you're like, is it 5 o'clock? Is it lunchtime?
It's almost time to leave. Yeah. So we'll leave it here. So I'll leave it with my last question being, so as you're leaving Capital and resigning and saying you're fully going to the creative space, what are your financials looking like at that point? Are you nervous? Are you excited? Have you moved out at that point? Or what's it looking like at that point?
I was very nervous.
Yeah.
But I didn't just move out I didn't just leave and then I was over 25 was already a thing.
Yeah.
It had already been a thing while I was in Capital.
Yeah.
But I also had a business, a side hustle
Yeah.
that was making me more, like double the money I was on a good month. I'd even make 3 socks. Sometimes some months I'll even make just 60K. But I had a business. I used to sell skincare.
Okay.
Like vitamin C serums, moisturizers, sunscreen, everything from the Korean skincare routine line. And so I was doing that over 25 and my 9 to 5.
Okay.
But when the 9 to 5 started, I had reached the complete end.
Yeah.
I had that.
Yeah.
And I had influencer marketing.
Okay.
So it was hard. It was scary. It still is.
Yeah.
4 years later, because I left in 2020, I'm still just like, is this the day I won't be able to pay my rent? And I hate that feeling.
Yeah.
The one thing employment gives you is peace of mind.
Yeah.
It might drain you creatively and kill your spirit.
Yeah.
But 2 years from now, you will probably still have this job. And so thus you can even, you can take a loan, start building house, take a loan, buy a car. When you're in the gig economy, it's not as easy.
Yeah.
But there are benefits being on this side as well.
Yeah.
So I was aware of that. And remember, I had a lot of PTSD from that time that I resigned from the brewery. But this time I had a business.
Yeah.
This time, unlike before, my mom was backing me.
Yeah.
Never financially, but she gave me her blessing. She gave me her blessing a year and a half before I resigned. Because she was like, you're not okay. What's going on with you?
Yeah.
And I sat with her one day and I was just telling her, she knew all the stuff I was going through in Capital. And I told her a few things, and then she asked me, so from 0 to 100, how unhappy are you with your job?
Yeah.
And I said, like 65, 70, but in reality, it was more like 90.
Yeah.
And she was so shocked. She said, 60? No. I think that's too high. That's too high. Imagine you'll get another job. You have my blessing. And that day when I went to work, she sent me those prayer emojis.
Yeah.
You have my blessing.
Yeah.
That's the day I got that commission. The day I was in the parking lot about to get into the meeting is the day she gave me her blessing to resign. And it's the day I got that smile. And I was like, maybe I can push.
But you still walk out of the elevator and you're like, nah.
I'm still like, nah. But I was like, I don't have the balls, man.
Yeah.
So yes, I was still nervous, but I was in a different space of mind.
Yeah.
I wasn't in a, the universe shall provide. I had some things. Content creation had given me the confidence in myself.
Yeah.
And that's why Over 25 was so meaningful to me, because it was the one thing that worked.
Yeah.
In my life. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where I was at.
That's where you're at. Okay. We will come back for part 2. We'll promise you we'll come back for part 2 to be able to get in that discussion. So I won't even end this conversation per se. We'll see you guys on Jules' money story part 2. But this has been interesting. I mean, we've learned a lot, seen a lot, heard a lot, and and we'll also let you know in time what we are potentially looking to do.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you guys on the next episode.